We'll be looking at the term full stack. Now, before talking about full stack, we must first know what a complete web application or a mobile application is. Generally speaking, it is made up of two things, maybe the front end or the user interface, what the user sees, the web page, the mobile app user interface, or the back end. Okay, so the back end comprised of a server language and a database. So that server language um, PHP, could be Node.js, could be Python, and then the database could be MySQL, could be MongoDB, could be just any other database that you know about. Okay, so a full stack developer is one that can work on both the front end as well as the back end of any application. Most website templates, you see the user interface with all its beautiful UI, sliders, animations, and everything. Those templates, they are all created by front end programmers. So that's why sometimes in a job listing you might see some um, employers needing front end programmers. Okay, so front end programmers are actually different from back end programmers. So we have the front end programmers, we have the back end programmers. These back end programmers might not have the knowledge of creating the user interfaces, but they can create the back end. They can architecture the application, create the database, and then create an API whereby the front end can interact with the database. Okay, so the back end generally knows a programming language such as PHP, such as Node.js, such as the Django, which is Python, and then a database. Okay, so that's just it. So APIs are basically created by backend programmers. For instance, these are beautiful websites templates created by front end programmers. Okay, so a backend guy might not be as creative as a front end guy in terms of putting up things like this. Okay, so you see, these are all made by front end programmer. So most of the time, you'll see a front end programmer could come up with something like this, but cannot really have what it takes to make it work. So this could just be as static as anything. So it now requires the effort of a back end programmer to make this work. For instance, now this website could have a blog or something, maybe some information here are being called from a database. Okay, so he needs the effort of a back end programmer in order to make this work. So this an e-commerce shop, for instance. Now a front end guy will have to create the user interface, and then a back end guy will create the database and then the API, so that wherever you purchase an item, it is being, whatsoever you purchase is being stored in the database, and even the items being displayed here on the front end are being called from a database. Okay, so you see the front end and the back end working together. Now, what then is full stack? A full stack developer or a full stack programmer is one that can build both the front end as well as the back end. According to W3 schools, a full stack web developer is a person who can develop both the client and server software, or the client also referred to the front end as well. Okay, so the server software there, talking about the back end, because it comprises of the programming language that you are using as well as a database. In addition to mastering HTML and CSS, he or she must know or must have knowledge a of programming a browser, maybe using JavaScript, jQuery, Angular, or Vue.js or React.js. Must also have knowledge of a server using PHP, Python, Node.js, and so on and so forth. And then a database using SQL, SQLite, MongoDB, as well as other databases. Now you see some front end, some client side software or front end languages being listed here. We have HTML, CSS, and the rest of it. Now there you have React, and that's where React is. So React is basically the front end language. And then under the server side now, which have to do with the back end, now you see we have PHP, we have MongoDB, a database, we have PHP, a language, we have so many of them. We have Firebase from Google, we have Python, we have Node.js. Okay, so you can pick any of these guys here, and then you're good to go. So when talking about full stack, we have the mean stack and we have the MERN stack. Uh, in this course, we are going to be doing the MERN stack. So there are different stacks that you can actually use. Okay, so you could follow the MERN, which is MongoDB Express, React, and Node.js. You can follow the mean, which is MongoDB Express, Angular, and Node.js. You can also follow the Django stack, which have to do with Python, Django, and MySQL database.